I'll be talking about, advancements or advancing the transmission and distribution technologies. Basically, this aims at powering the next energy frontier, as we all know, driven by solar, wind, hydro, nuclear. India has already achieved 50% of its installed capacity from non-fossil fuel sources. This is the status as of July, and it's way ahead of its 2030 Paris target. Of course, increasing renewables, grid decentralization, and digitalization, all these drive this need for the next generation T&D technologies. Let me give you a few numbers just to put things in perspective. So, as per International Energy Agency (IEA), it estimates that over 80 million kilometers of power lines must be built or refurbished by 2040. And annual grid investments need to nearly double to over 600 billion by 2030 for net zero goals. Therefore, urgent upgrades are needed to connect substantial renewable energy capacity currently, which is in permitting. Of course, evacuation is a big challenge. We know against the target of setting up transmission lines, last year India missed it. However, there is an urgent need of automation to drive efficiency and overall ensure sustainable growth of the sector as a whole when we talk about transmission and distribution. I will be talking about 6 emerging T&D technology trends which we feel are taking main stage. The first is definitely battery energy storage. We know that the costs are falling rapidly and grid scale BESS deployments are accelerating because of that. The average global price of utility scale lithium ion batteries fell to approximately $115 per kilowatt hour in 2024. And the projections are that it will go way below $100 per kilowatt hour by 2025. So intelligent energy orchestration with interoperable vendor-neutral EMS platforms is the next frontier. Coming to AI, Gen AI, and agentic systems for grid operations. So utilities adopt AI and Gen AI for outage prediction, asset health diagnostics, and load forecasting. This is something which has been happening for a while. Not so much in India because of lack of good data, but then at the same time, it's happening globally. However, we have seen very recently there is a big shift towards agentic AI systems for autonomous decision making. This enables anomaly detection agents for fault isolation and restoration. There is a possibility of having conversational Gen AI assistants for real-time SCADA log interpretations, planning co-pilots for simulating power flows and congestion scenarios. Of course, because of all of this, there'll be a huge reduction in manpower or workload and enable faster and safer grid decisions to be taking place in the T&D environment. The next part is digital substations and intelligent protection. So modern substations use IEC 61850, Goose messaging, and adaptive relaying for real-time fault response. Self-healing networks are feasible. With distributed intelligence, it will enable microsecond level decision making and protection switching. So this is again something which is coming up in a big way. India is also thinking of putting up these cities or which can be positioned as model distribution cities. And similar on the same lines, transmission is also gearing up for upgrading their energy management systems, etc. And moving from AIS to GIS substations. The next is smart wearables for field staff. Again, an innovative and emerging trend. AR/VR headsets, we would have all heard of it. India recently in India, Meta launched the Ray-Ban Meta sunglasses also, which have cameras. So similar technologies available in the power sector also. Then AI-enabled helmets are available and GPS synced safety gear. All of these transform utility workforce in totality. Of course, the cost is on a bit higher side, but this is also definitely coming down at a very fast scale. This will enable remote expert guidance, digital inspection evidence, improving speed, safety, and compliance. The next is wide area monitoring and facts. WAMS, we all know that in transmission, WAMS is a project, wide area monitoring system, which is already funded by PSDF, and a lot of transmission utilities are taking it. This technology powered by phasor measurement units provide grid-wise visibility, early fault detection, and frequency stability. All of this happens because the frequency of data that a PMU sends is way ahead or way faster as compared to traditional SCADA systems. Then comes the HVDC and satellite communication, which balance long distance renewable flows and also ensure interstate transfers in a robust way. Although the latency is high when we talk about satellite communication, but at the same time the reliability is much better. The last topic, or the second last topic, sorry, which I would be talking about before touching holistically on the cybersecurity aspect, is the utility backbone, which is nothing but your highway, which is the telecom and the OPGW networks. So we all know that the OPGW networks, as far as the transmission goes, is already present. Power Grid owns most of this infrastructure. It can be used in many ways, not only for telecommunication perspective, but to ensure that all the offices are connected in a way and office operations are robust. So basically, it makes an enterprise more robust because you have the highway ready for you for data to be sent. This will definitely be a big foundation for grid operations. In South Asia also, it's coming up in a big way. The biggest part is that from the OPGW networks to the nearest distribution stations, the utility can extend it via ADSS and then also think of making the nearest 33 kV substations also connected via fiber. This will ensure that they have utmost reliability as far as the network bandwidth goes. Of course, the emerging technologies here is basically DWDM, which enables real-time protection. Also, with the introduction of optical transport network over the traditional SDH switches which are used, it also helps in encrypted SCADA and the overall backbone helps in high-speed video analytics also. Now, with all of these emerging trends, of course, the Ministry of Power, the CERTIN, the CEA, NCIAPC, there's several guidelines for transmission and distribution because it is critical infrastructure. So a lot of impetus is laid on cybersecurity. The utilities have been mandated to create a security operations center, which is CyberSOC, and they are also being given this budget or grant for them to implement it, both the SOC as well as NOC. And we see a lot of adoption in the near future or the immediate future, I would say, with cybersecurity also taking mainstream. So with this, I would like to hand over to the next panelist. Thank you.